how much money do I make from my socials? I really love income transparency. I think it's important to talk about. What is the most difficult part of being a special needs parent? Do you get Botox or fillers? Will Beckham be able to get his Gtube removed? What is yours and Hunter's perspective on religion now that you've left the Mormon church? Favorite thing about Hunter? How did you choose to start YouTubing? Okay, so this is such a good question. I know you got a breast augmentation, but have you also had a nose job? Will Beckham always live with you and Hunter? Do you still do online training? What are your favorite baby names, and are you going to have more kids? Hey guys, welcome back to the House of Hughes. I am so excited to do a very long overdue Q&A. I have not done a Q&A in over like a year. I feel like we have a ton of new family members, and I definitely want you guys to be able to get to know me and our family just a little bit better. I had you guys send me in questions on YouTube and on Instagram, and you guys sent me so many amazing questions. I'm gonna be giving you guys as many details as possible. So let's just go ahead and dive in. What is the most difficult part of being a special needs parent? I definitely feel like this gets asked quite a bit. I do try and keep things extremely positive, and I share all of the beautiful, magical moments that we have as special needs parents, but I would definitely be hiding a lot if I didn't share that there was also a lot of grief. And I honestly think that one of the most difficult parts is that you grieve in stages in terms of loss. So a lot of times I will grieve for myself, but I will also grieve for Beckham, and that can be a very conflicting emotion. And I always try and remind myself that his experience is very, very happy and much more simplified than mine, and for that I'm extremely grateful. However, there is of course a lot of mourning in terms of stages as they come. So for example, right now I am mourning more so a little 5-year-old who I would have enrolled in sports, where I'd be able to go to little baseball games and little t-ball or little soccer, and I see my friends with boys being able to do those things, and it makes me really sad that I don't get to have those experiences and that Beckham doesn't get to have those experiences. However, I'm not grieving and being able to drive, or him going into middle school, or him getting married or having children. So those are things that I try really hard not to focus on, and I only grieve what is in front of me at the moment when it's needed. Definitely say that that's one of the most difficult parts, is that new waves of grief come in with every single stage, and it's a lifelong experience. And then of course, I would say that overall the most difficult thing is not being able to trade Beckham places. I wish that I could take every ounce of pain that he's ever felt. I wish that I could give him my experience in life, but I also remind myself that he was meant to have this experience, and I feel really strongly that this is something that he wanted. And I also am just amazed by him and how positive he is. But of course, as a mother, all you want is for your child to live the fullest life possible, and seeing him in any pain is so heartbreaking and by far the most challenging part of this entire experience, because I just wish that he could have a pain-free life experience. Do you get Botox or fillers? The answer is half yes and half no. I have never gotten fillers. I don't have fillers anywhere in my face. I don't have fillers in my lips. However, I do get Botox. I get Botox on my forehead, between my eyebrows, and also on my chin. So because I have such big teeth, when I hold my mouth closed, it actually creates a ton of wrinkles on my chin. So I get a few injections of Botox right there to help keep my chin smooth. And then I also get a little bit around the crow's feet by my eyes. I get that done every 10 to 12 weeks. I actually abused tanning beds when I was younger. This is your sign not to lay in a tanning bed. I promise it is not worth it. I worked at a tanning salon, and I developed a really bad habit of using the beds all the time when I was working. Now I am just a spray tan girl, which is so much better for your skin. I use sunscreen like crazy, but I do get Botox because unfortunately I have so many wrinkles in my forehead that age me like 20 years. So I am going to avoid fillers. No judgment at all for anyone who does get fillers, but for me, I want to avoid fillers for literally as long as possible. My goal is to never get them and just use Botox as needed. I have shared so much with you guys about Blakely's asthma and Blakely's allergies, which makes her extremely immune compromised, along of course with Beckham, who was obviously born at 27 weeks. I don't talk about this a ton, but he was actually diagnosed with BPD, which is a lung condition and also makes him very high risk if he ever develops a sickness. He also primarily gets around on the ground, so he is on the floor a lot. He also likes to put his hands in his mouth. So having a clean home is obviously a priority for Hunter and I. It's something that we will constantly make a priority just so we can keep our kids as healthy and as safe as possible. So Hunter and I are so grateful to announce our sponsorship today with HomGlow. HomGlow is a 5-star service platform dedicated to making your space clean and tidy, which is so important to us. They have also made their online booking so easy. It was honestly a piece of cake, you guys. I literally just went onto their website. I selected the time, the day, and the duration of the cleaning that I wanted. Then you get to see all of the cleaners that are available in your area. And let me just tell you guys, these cleaners are amazing. They actually have to pass a rigorous certification process, and they also have to maintain an average of a 4.8 star on the platform. So you know that your home is going to look spectacular and that you're gonna get an amazing cleaner. You can use HomGlow for really any special occasion, especially around the holidays, or you can use it after a party. You can also use it when you have a special event coming up. Hunter and I, we like to maintain regular cleanings. So we absolutely love, and our favorite part of this entire company is their Forever Clean membership. It is absolutely incredible. I'm so excited to share the details with you guys because trust me when I say you're gonna wanna take advantage of this, because this definitely sets them apart, and it is so perfect for Hunter and I with wanting to maintain a clean home for Beckham and Blakely. Like I said, their Forever Clean membership is just so valuable to us. It literally saves you $30 an hour on all of your future cleanings. And not only that, but it is backed by their HomGlow happiness guarantee. So you know that you're going to be extremely happy. It just brings me so much peace of mind that I have something on a regular basis that is not only affordable, but it's also backed with a guarantee that I'm gonna be happy with their service. It is also extremely reliable, and again, just having that peace of mind that my kids are going to be as safe as possible because our home is as clean as possible. With their Forever Clean membership, you can book it just like a one-time appointment. You just log in and you can set up reoccurring appointments weekly or bi-weekly. But what is so nice is if your schedule changes or something, then you can literally just log in and adjust your time for that week, and you don't have to directly contact a cleaner. So it just makes it really simple. You have full control over your schedule, and you know that it's going to be a really easy process. Get your time back this holiday season. Head to homglow.com/houseofhughes. I will also put that up on the screen for you guys so you know exactly how to spell it. Or to make it even easier, you can also just scan this QR code to get your first 3 hours of cleaning for only $19. Thank you again to HomGlow for sponsoring today's video. I am exposing myself a little bit right now, but obviously I know so many of you can relate. It is so tough when you are a full-time caretaker, you have multiple kids, you're working full-time. Even if you're a stay-at-home mom, that is still full-time work. So I'm gonna show you guys a little before so that you can see how incredible they do for the after. Even though we keep our house as picked up as possible, obviously with toddlers, we get stains everywhere on the counter, especially around our faucet. It just ends up getting really dirty, really dusty with lots of stains over time, especially under little places and nooks like this that are a little bit harder to reach. They're gonna make our counter look amazing. There's our little man in his wheelchair, and we like to give him as much freedom as possible, but of course he runs into the cabinets, so we get these little black lines and stains across the cabinets. It will be so nice for those to be taken care of. Of course, again, with toddlers, it's so hard to reach little places like this with things all over the carpet, especially here around the Christmas tree where there is so much glitter and things that have fallen off. And with the little puppers, it's hard to keep things clean too. You already know the bathroom is so difficult to keep clean. Obviously, we're in here all of the time. So I am so excited to get all of this cleaned off and just looking perfect, especially the scale. Oh my word, Beckham loves playing with this. So it'll be so nice to have that completely cleaned off. They're also going to do the entire tub and the entire shower. I will admit that I'm not great about keeping the shower clean. As you can see, all of these streaks. They're also going to vacuum, get everything off of the carpets up here, which will be nice with that little Christmas tree. This is where Blakely likes to take baths as well, so it'll be nice to get all of this cleaned out. My washing machine is going, so don't mind the noise, but obviously this goes without saying how badly this room needs done. Then we've got Sissy's room, probably the most important because of her allergies and asthma. So they are going to dust, vacuum, and just make sure everything in here is perfect and clean for her lungs. Especially with Beckham spending a lot of time on the floor, I'm so excited to get these stains and all of these crumbs up. Our mudroom entryway is also so hard to keep clean because we come in from the garage, so it gets stained really easy, and this is always so satisfying. I'm looking around my bathroom, and I don't think I have ever seen it this clean. Down to the tiny details, I am so impressed. I'm gonna show you guys an after of the entire house. You can barely tell that there are shower doors because the glass is so clean. I'm also obsessed with the fact that they organized and lined up all of my products. The tub and the tile looks absolutely amazing, which is really tough with a white floor. I film in here all the time, so I know that this looks like a literal different mirror because it's so clean. All of my makeup residue is off. This just looks phenomenal. I swear that everything is like glistening. Even the scale that Beckham likes to play with is perfectly clean. Look at how beautiful they did on the bedroom. It just looks so clean. We also cleaned up my vanity area. Beckham is out there screaming because he loves the vacuum so much. And then look at how gorgeous this mirror looks. I promise that's a happy scream with Beckham. The house looks absolutely spotless. You can tell that my floors are just glistening along with my bar stools and counter. I don't know if I've ever had a clean as thorough as this. What is yours and Hunter's perspective on religion now that you've left the Mormon church? I've shared a little bit about Hunter and I both growing up in a very Orthodox religion. It was Mormonism. We both live in Utah, and that is a very prominent religion and culture here. However, after we got married, we both decided that we do not align with the morals of the Mormon church. We don't align with the history of the Mormon church, and it's not something that we felt comfortable being associated with. So we both left the church together, which is really, really fortunate because when you grow up in an Orthodox religion, it is number one, very rare to leave because the brainwashing and the indoctrination at such a young age is so difficult to deconstruct as an adult. And it tears up a lot of marriages if one spouse decides to leave and one doesn't. And Hunter and I are just so fortunate that we both left and left together, which has bettered our marriage, bettered our lives in ways that I cannot even express. I'm so grateful for where we're at now. But I will say there was definitely a huge loss of identity leaving the religion we grew up in. So we've done a lot of spiritual healing in that time frame since leaving. And Hunter and I are both very spiritual beings, even though we don't believe in organized religion. We have very strong spiritual preferences and beliefs that are ever changing. And I'm just a huge believer that anything that you believe should lead to positivity, hope, comfort, peace. I believe very strongly in the law of manifestation and the law of abundance. If you've never read the book, The Secret, it is a beautiful place to start on those two belief systems. Hunter and I are very connected to our higher selves, and we do believe in a higher power, but we don't believe that that higher power is in the form or image of a person. Favorite thing about Hunter? So this is such a sweet question. I am very open about my marriage and how in love I am with my spouse, although our marriage has definitely not been simple or easy. I don't think that's the case for very many people, but Hunter and I have a lot of emotion and fire and spice in our marriage, and I'm so grateful for that. Our marriage is definitely not boring, but I do think that we have an extremely healthy relationship because we have so much mutual respect. We've also been through some really, really difficult things together, and we grew up together. We literally got married when we were 21 years old. We got engaged when we were 20. We are now turning 30 in a couple months, and so we really did grow up together, and so fortunate that we changed in the same direction and didn't grow apart. But honestly, my favorite thing about Hunter is by far his loyalty and his selflessness. Hunter is the most loyal man. He truly, truly is so loyal to the people that he loves, the person who benefits the most from that being his spouse. I have felt an unwavering amount of loyalty since the day that I met him, and I have really come so far with my self-esteem because of that and because of some of my previous experiences in abusive relationships. Hunter is just very steadfast in the choices that he makes, and I'm so grateful that he chooses to love me and only me every single day, and that is something that I value in him, and I'm so grateful that he has so much loyalty in his character, and that's something that I'm really grateful my daughter gets to grow up and witness, because it will allow her to have expectations that are extremely high for herself when it comes to marriage. I just really cannot express how much I value Hunter's loyalty. And then of course his selflessness. Hunter is truly the most selfless man I have ever met. When I say that he treats me like an absolute queen, he really does, you guys, in the most simple ways. Just to give you guys a couple examples, a couple years ago, I was feeling really, really overwhelmed with my workload and being a mom of two. So Hunter was like, you know what? On our weekly date night, I really want to discuss your workload. And he took me to dinner, and he sat there and talked to me for about an hour about all of the reasons that I don't need to work, all of the reasons that that pressure was never meant for me, and that he fully supported me being happy and what success should look like, and that it's not measured by money or measured by work ethic or workload. And he talked to me about redefining my definition of success. And I took 6 entire months off of working almost completely until I was ready to work again. And that 6 months literally changed my life and changed my ability to work in a healthy, balanced way. And it was because of Hunter that I was able to do that. On the opposing side of things, about 10, 12 months ago, almost a year, I came to Hunter and I told him that I was ready to pour my heart and soul into work, that I felt like the universe was telling me that this was my time. And he literally hired me a nanny that day to support what I wanted to do with work. That is Hunter. He just pays attention to my needs in that moment and adjusts his whole life to make sure that my needs are met. At the very beginning of the year, I experienced a very unique, devastating, tragic loss. Hunter was extremely worried about my mental health, and our therapist, who we see regularly, is typically booked out months and months in advance. She's not even accepting new clients. He called her and said that he would pay any amount to get me 2 back-to-back sessions that day, and spent $800 to get me into my therapist the very next day to make sure that I was okay. My best friend Haley was flying back to Texas after visiting, and she went to run some errands. The lighting just went crazy, I'm so sorry. But I had a total breakdown. Hunter found me in my closet, sobbing my eyes out, and within about 30 minutes, he had tickets booked for us to go see her, so that I had something to look forward to and that I would know when I would get to see her again. Not to mention the fact that every single morning, Hunter prioritizes my sleep and lets me sleep in as long as I possibly can, because he is so validating and always tells me that as a woman, I just require more sleep than he does, and he wants my hormones to be as healthy and as regulated as possible. And you know what's crazy, you guys, is those are like the tiniest examples ever. Those are so minuscule, and it's just scraping the surface of who Hunter is. I truly believe that I am the luckiest woman in the world to be married to him. And that's not to say that he doesn't have his flaws. We all do. I can honestly say that I would pick him 100 times this over. Do you still do online training? If so, how do we become clients? You are so inspiring. This is so freaking sweet. I don't talk about this a ton on my YouTube channel, but I am an online trainer for training and nutrition. I've been doing that for about 9 years at this point. I specialize in nutrition and disordered eating, and I am so passionate about it. I absolutely love and adore all of my clients. The best way to become a client of mine is to go to my website, conquercoaching.com, and you can see all of the packages that I offer, testimonials, and everything that you get and what it's like to work with me. What are your favorite baby names, and are you going to have more kids? This is a really good question. So I have opened up to you guys about the complications that I experienced in both of my pregnancies. Beckham's delivery was complicated, obviously, and Blakely's pregnancy was complicated. I had really intense births, and unfortunately it is not safe for me to carry another child. So I will tell you guys some of my favorite names that we did not use, but we would definitely use if we had more children. But unfortunately, we are not going to have any more kids. I did envision myself having a bigger family, and it took a while to accept the fact that we'd only have 2 kids, but now I definitely feel at peace with it, and I definitely feel like our family is complete. My favorite boys' names are Jet. That was actually like almost tied with Beckham. We were really debating on those two. Knox, Brock, Crew, Brooks, which I love Brooks so much, and Banks. I also love Banks. I'm definitely just like a B name girl. And then my favorite for girls, if Blakely had a sister, her name would absolutely positively be Blair, Hallie, or Kate. However, my sister-in-law's name is Kate. Beautiful, beautiful name, so we wouldn't use that. But I love Hughes, and I also love Blakely, Beckham, and Blair. I think that's so cute. Blair for a girl is like my favorite. So those are the names I love, but Beckham and Blake were by far my favorites, and that's why we used them. I had another question about how I came up with Beckham's name, and we were debating on Beckham and Jet. And so when I came out of my C-section, Hunter was obviously so sweet and looked at me and just said, you can name him literally whatever you want, and I chose Beckham. And his middle name is Harvey, which is my father-in-law's name. So his full name is Beckham Harvey Hughes, which I just think is so precious. What plastic surgery have you had? I know you got a breast augmentation, but have you also had a nose job? That is a great question. I'm also a little flattered that someone would ask if I had a nose job. I have had 2 breast augmentations. The first was a complete waste, and I totally regret it. I went way too big. I was 19 years old. I was not married. I didn't have kids yet. If you are thinking of getting your chest done, I highly, highly encourage you wait until after you have kids, unless you are positive you don't want kids. I also tell everybody that it is very important to keep in mind what you are going to look like with clothes on. Don't envision what you're going to look like without clothes, because very few people will see that. Envision what you're going to look like in clothing and pick a size based on how you would want to look that way. So my first was way too big, totally regret it. And my second I had done after I had kids. I downsized by literally 50%, and I'm so, so happy with it. I never want to change them. I feel so comfortable, so confident, and I feel like they look extremely natural. And then as far as the nose job goes, I've never had anything done to my face except for Botox, so I do not have a nose job, but thank you for asking. And I don't think I would ever get any plastic surgery on my face per se, unless something, you know, happened where I needed it. But I also did a labiaplasty, and it was done for medical reasons, not for cosmetic reasons. So I just want to clarify that. That surgery literally changed my life in terms of exercise, comfort, intimacy. I'm so grateful that I did it. And those are the only things that I have had done. How tall are you? This is funny because everybody thinks that I'm taller than I am. I am 5'3", so I am quite short. How did you choose to start YouTubing? Okay, so this is such a good question. I can honestly say that I really, really regret not starting YouTube earlier. I actually bought a camera, started YouTubing about 10 years ago, and then I gave up. I wasn't confident with my editing. I just didn't feel confident in front of the camera, and I gave up and I quit. And then about 4 years later, 3 or 4 years later, I went to Hunter and I was like, hey, I think I'm really gonna regret it if I don't really give YouTube like a fair shot. I really just feel like I was meant to do YouTube, and it was very vulnerable to say that. I felt really silly, But I love talking, I love sharing. I'm not a private person at all. It's just my personality, it's who I am. And I really wanted to share my experiences as a mom, some of the experiences I went through when I was younger, and just share my life. I was also obsessed with YouTube at the time. I loved watching vlogs, and I was like, I want to do that. I was so fascinated, but I was not comfortable editing. So Hunter was like, that's amazing, I love it, let's buy you a camera. And I was so timid, and I said to him, like, what if you buy me a camera and I give up again? And he said, then I'll buy you another camera when you're ready to start again. And it was just so supportive and so sweet. I was really nervous about editing, so Hunter learned how to edit and then taught me how to edit so that I felt comfortable. And he is truly the reason that I am where I am today, and I'm so grateful for him. Will Beckham be able to get his Gtube removed? So most of you know that my son is tube fed. He's actually had 2 Gtube surgeries, one to get out of the NICU and then one when he was 3 years old. His Gtube is definitely something that I view as a positive thing. I'm just so grateful that there's a way for him to get all of the nutrients that he needs. It keeps him full. It makes his life extremely happy and fulfilling. And so I view the Gtube so positively, which I know is really, really hard. A lot of times it's a huge, huge emotional experience when you learn that your child has to be tube fed. And that can be really hard, and I want to give so much empathy to any mother or parent that feels that way. Of course, we do hope that he will be able to eat everything by mouth someday, but we are also very content with where he's at right now. And if he always has to be tube fed, then we are just so, so grateful that that's an option so that he can feel full and get the nutrients that he needs in a safe, healthy way. So of course we are praying and hoping that he will be able to get it removed one day, but if he can't, then that's okay. I talk so much, I feel like I've only answered a couple questions, but I think I've been filming for like 30-40 minutes. So I better speed this process up. Somebody asked, how much money do I make from my socials? This is a really great question. I really love income transparency. I think it's important to talk about. I also am very open and transparent with you guys that I do make money off of my socials. This is a job for me. However, I think that a lot of people think that YouTubers or anyone on social media is like a millionaire, which is not the case. I also would consider myself quite a small content creator in the grand scheme of things. So I do make a good living where I'd be able to take care of myself and my kids if anything were to happen to Hunter. But a very, very common misconception is that I'm the breadwinner in our home. I am not. Hunter is the breadwinner. He owns his own business. He has always made more money than me, but I am very, very grateful for the money that I do make. However, I will say it was a very, very slow but steady rise in terms of my income with my socials. So I won't give you guys like the exact numbers that I make, but I'll be transparent about what revenue streams make me the most. Sponsorships and affiliate links definitely make the bulk of my income. So when I integrate an ad into my videos, the company is paying me a certain amount of money in order to do that. So that is why I am so incredibly grateful for everyone who is supportive and positive about me putting ads in my videos, because if I was not able to put ads in my videos, then I would have to work a 9 to 5 and not be able to be with my children. And so when I say that, it means the world to me that you support me putting ads in my videos. It is literally the reason I'm able to stay home with my kids, and the fact that you watch them is the only reason those brands pay me. And so I just want to thank you for that, because it is literally because of you that I am able to do that. And I think that every single person who's a mother knows what a privilege it is to be able to stay home with her kids. And I know that that is not the norm. And the fact that you put me in this position, I will forever be indebted to you because of that. And I just want to say thank you genuinely from the bottom of my heart. I'm so, so grateful that I get to raise my kids and be here at home with them, especially with Beckham, who needs more care and more attention. I'm just so grateful that I didn't have to trust anybody with that, and I got to do it myself. The next few revenue streams that I have in order of income are YouTube. And so Google, the actual platform, pays you per view, as well as TikTok. TikTok would be next. Then my online coaching, and then Facebook and Instagram. So that is the order, even though I don't want to give you guys exacts. However, I will say that, like I mentioned, I am a smaller creator. So I'm just gonna be totally upfront and honest with you guys. It is probably less than you think. week. What is your favorite food? My favorite food in the entire world is bread. Just bread. I judge a restaurant by the bread they give you. I try to incorporate bread with almost every single meal. I am just a bread girl through and through. What is your favorite thing to do for yourself? Lift weights. That is definitely my favorite hobby, and it will be forever. Will Beckham always live with you and Hunter? That's a question I get all the time, and I think that's one of the tough things about being a special needs parent is there is so much unknown. And I think what can be difficult about the unknown is it is very fearful. However, Hunter and I always say that we make our life adapt to Beckham and not Beckham adapt to our life. So when we build a new home, build or buy in the next few years, we do plan on having a lot big enough where we can have a mother-in-law apartment that is detached from our home that will either be for a full-time live-in nurse for Beckham when he's older, or will actually be a home for Beckham that is detached so he can have some independence or whatever independence he can have while also being with Hunter and I in a sense. So those are things that we are preparing for. However, if Beckham is in our home for the rest of his life, I am so privileged that I get to experience this life with him. And it's not something that scares me. It's something that I feel like I was made to do. And I'm just grateful that it gets to be me. So that actually is something that brings me a lot of peace and isn't something that scares me. And I'm just ready to accept whatever his life looks like in the future. And I am well aware that there might be some grief associated with whatever there is to come in any capacity. And I'm also prepared for that, and that's okay. I had so many more questions, so I think I actually want to do another Q&A, and I think it might be fun to bring Hunter in for another Q&A. So let me know if you guys want to see a Q&A with Hunter and I think that could be really fun. But I hope that you guys enjoyed a little sit down, chill Q&A video. If you have more questions, you can drop them in the comments and I will be happy to answer them. But I hope that you guys enjoyed it. I love you so much. I want to remind you to be brave like Beckham, and I will catch you in our next video. Bye.